And Football Kenya Federation Disciplinary Committee will have between 30 to 45 days to give a report on the investigation of the conduct of CEO Robert Muthomi, who has since stepped aside, with the FKF appointing Barry Otieno to act in the position. Meanwhile, FKF President Nick Mwendwa spoke on the betting crackdown even as national football teams Harambee Stars and Harambee Starlets prepare for their different qualifying tournaments. In a move to deal with the fallout and bad publicity at the Football Kenya Federation leadership, President Nick Mwendwa has appointed its communications manager Barry Otieno to the position of CEO in acting capacity.
Thank you.
Barry replaces Robert Muthomi, who has since stepped aside following a botched transfer attempt of striker John Avire from Sofapaka to an Egyptian side, pending the decision of the FKF Disciplinary Committee.
We want to maintain fairness for all parties involved, the club, the player, and the CEO, so that we can allow the committee to do its work properly and thoroughly and make a report to us on how to move forward.
The Sofapaka striker has until December 2020 in his contract. Away from the administrative fallout, the 2019 Africa Cup of Nations done and dusted, Harambee Stars coach Sebastian Minye has less time to settle in as his real contracted test begins, with the federation adamant that the 2021 Africa Cup of Nations was his contracted target. But first, Minye will be guiding Stars to qualify for their first ever African Nations Championships CHAN participation against Tanzania this weekend.
We are looking forward to put a fight with an ambition and clarity that we want to get back to the Cup of Nations in 2021. There are no longer big teams and small teams in Africa. We cannot guarantee it, of course, but we want to be there in 2021. This is not like 2019 when we didn't have a plan to be there.
The national women's team Harambee Starlets are in camp as well, preparing for the upcoming Olympics qualifier against Malawi, minus several veterans such as Nadia Tieno, Israel-based Elsie Akida, and Sweden-based duo of Mary Kinuthia and Christine Nafula.
Realistically, we're not a World Cup nation yet in terms of women. Realistically, we want to prepare this team now in this competition, but for Women Cup of Nations, which has now increased to 12 teams. And how to do that, we realize that for women, even more so than men, you have to bring in the girls from school faster. Because if you don't do that, very quickly you find that the girls who have been there are not replaced by equal or better talent.
The FKF president also waded in on the recent regulation crackdown by the government on the betting companies and what that holds for the sporting fraternity in general, as well as the National Sports Fund, a source of funding for the sports federations.
While I understand that there are issues with government and which are for government to deal with around regulations, around betting, I just want to say that the game needs money. And today, 70% of investment in football around the world is done by betting companies.